Welcome to another edition of the MDM Podcast. I'm Mike Hockett, our executive editor. The National Association of Hose and Accessories Distribution held its 2023 annual meeting and convention from April 29th through May 3rd at the Bahamas Atlantis Paradise, a mega resort that hosted more than 800 attendees from member distributors and manufacturers in the industrial hose and rubber products markets. I was happy to escape the early Wisconsin spring and attend the event, where it wasn't just the seemingly endless beaches and tropical weather that had attendees in a good mood. As you'll hear in this episode, there remains considerable optimism for market performance and product demand, but not without the acknowledgement that economic storm clouds may be on the horizon. This episode is a compilation of 5 brief interviews I had with NAHAD attendees, including 4 association board members. They include, in order, NAHAD Executive Vice President Molly Alton-Mullins, Force America's Jason Westad, FlexLine's Jeff Scheininger, Continental's Ryan Gauscher, and ARG Industrial's Mike Mortensen. I asked each of them about what they get out of attending NAHAD's annual convention, what product demand looks like as of the start of May, and to touch on the current supply chain and labor situation. Enjoy. All right, we are talking with Molly Alton-Mullins, Executive Vice President of NAHAD. We're here in the Bahamas. Couldn't really ask for a more gorgeous venue. But of course, this was supposed to be 3 years ago, and COVID kind of wiped that out. So can you, in a nutshell, take me through what had to happen to get this pushed 3 years down the road to where we are right now?
Well, Mike, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming down to the Bahamas. I know that must have been tough to pull off there.
Rough life, yeah.
I signed this contract in 2017. So this is 6 years in the making to get the NAHAD community to the Bahamas for this year's convention. It was very difficult to cancel in 2020. Personally, you felt just the wanting to bring the whole community together, not being able to. We were able to work with the Atlantis property. They were very gracious to NAHAD, allowing us to push the contract to the next available year, which happened to be this year in 2023. So definitely some juggling happened, but to be able to finally bring everyone here and enjoy all that the Atlantis has to offer has been a wonderful opportunity.
We heard Saturday from ITR Economics about there are a lot of just red flags out there on the economic front and the industrial front, suggesting that there's likely going to be a slowdown coming soon. But what are you hearing from NAHAD members in terms of the temperature out there, what they're seeing in demand on the product side? Just what kind of level of optimism is out there?
I believe our members have a ton of optimism out there. I've had a few say to me, we're not going to talk ourselves into a recession. Yeah. We are still seeing great, customer demand. We're still seeing better supply chain challenges easing. They're seeing their customers, look for them for new solutions and opportunities. And as long as they can deliver, they're able to continue to escalate and grow as a company. So they're cautiously optimistic, but they're certainly not slowing down.
Cautious optimism seems to be the most frequent kind of phrase I hear. When we talked a year ago in Miami, supply chain situation was definitely more challenging back then, and same with the labor situation. I was going to ask, on both those fronts, starting with supply chain, what are you seeing or hearing in terms of improvements on that end?
From a supply chain perspective, people are much more aware of their lead times now. Before it was, I don't know when the product's going to come. Yep. Now it's okay, it's 3-6 months, so people can plan more accordingly for their customers, and they're communicating it more to their customers. So they know that there's still going to be delays for certain things, but they're more aware, and those times are actually more, they're sticking more, as opposed to before it would kept, sliding to the end game there. So I'm definitely hearing that from our membership, that it's still there. It's still challenging, but they can plan for it better, they can predict it a little bit better, and then they can communicate it accordingly.
Yeah. And then on the labor front, it seems like in our surveying, in just other industry reports I see, it seems like labor is still the biggest challenge out there, both for distributors and manufacturers. Same question, what are you seeing or hearing in terms of improvements on that side, or how companies are navigating that right now?
The last economic report I heard is there's still, 2 job openings for every person looking for work. So there's always going to be a challenge on getting the right people into your company and working and retaining them. It has gotten better. Mm-hmm. The mass exodus that we saw post-COVID, that has definitely lessened from what I hear from all of my members. People aren't resigning in droves. People are sticking it out a little longer. The price escalation for salary is normalizing a little bit, so it's not these crazy bonuses that you're having to put that you did a year and a half ago. So it's better, but there's still those challenges I think that we're all going to face for a while.
Especially for those first-timers here at NAHAD, why do you think members choose to come to the NAHAD convention, or for just attendees in general? What do you think they get out of this event?
So we hosted our first-timer roundtables yesterday, and we have about 150 first-timers here at NAHAD, which is fantastic. And that was one of the questions we asked them is, what value do you see from here? What are you looking for when you come to NAHAD? And they said really understanding this community, networking with their peers, seeing those challenges and solutions that everyone is equally willing to share and communicate about so that collectively the industry does better.
Sure.
And I was really pleased to see people that were newer to the industry want to be in this business for a long time. And I actually heard one of my members say, you can make a really good living in this industry and really do a great job with some wonderful people. And what more would you want for your employment?
Well, that's a great spot to end it. Molly, thanks for stopping by.
Mike, appreciate it.
All right, we're talking with Jason Westad, Chief Sales Officer of Force America and President of NAHAD. Jason, besides this gorgeous venue here, what do you think that members get out of coming to the NAHAD convention each year?
For me, it's the incredible networking opportunities. I've met so many thoughtful and professional business colleagues that I've been able to create strong friendships with and call on during hard times and good times and share best practices. And we have home and away visits sometimes to see how each other do operate their businesses. And it's just really valuable to have that network of support to help you run your business, and then the great friendships. So the tools that NAHAD offers through the whole year, through NAHAD 365, are incredible. So there's all of that. But for me, the convention is very much about networking.
And then we heard from ITR Economics yesterday about there's all these signs of a looming economic slowdown. As far as the temperature in the hose products industry, what are you hearing from NAHAD members in terms of product demand out there? What are they seeing out there?
Yeah, it remains strong. We're not seeing any signs in our day-to-day yet, anyways, of any slowdown. As far as Force America, our backlog is at a record high and remains that way, and we're having record revenue months, and backlog is keeping up. So, and talking to other members, they're seeing a lot of the same. Customer sentiment is strong. So, like Patrick Luce from ITR said yesterday, if there is a slowdown, I would bet money that it would be mild during 2024, with a quick recovery into 2025, because we're not seeing signs of it yet, anyways.
And then just touching on the supply chain situation in the hose industry, whether it's at Force America or the industry as a whole, you touched on your guys' record backlog. Are there any products in the hosing industry that are still particularly hard to get, or just what's the overall supply chain situation in hose now compared to, let's say, 6 months ago?
It's better than it was 6 months ago. Like every product, maybe in the world, it suffered through 21 and into 22. But hose, for us anyways, seemed to be the first product to be able to bring in lead times and improve supply. That started to happen late summer, early fall. And so right now, the hose products category of industrial products seems to be doing better than most from a supply standpoint.
Okay. And then I know distributors and manufacturers, they're sick and tired of talking about the labor challenges they have, but I'm compelled to ask, same thing, for whether it's NAHAD members or at Force America, what are you seeing out there in terms of progress on the labor front?
It remains difficult. Patrick Luce yesterday mentioned the pyramid-type shaped human capital curve or people curve for the different countries, and we think it's going to probably not get better, I should say, for many years. That said, for certain roles like shop techs and warehouse in the back end of the business, it seems like we're having better luck finding people these days, but that's better from really bad. So It remains a challenge.
Yep. Well, that's all I had for you, Jason. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we are talking with Ryan Gosher. He's the Portfolio Director at Continental. We're here at NAHAD 2023. What are your general thoughts on the show so far?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Always a great opportunity for us to come to NAHAD, see some old friends, colleagues, customers, and new opportunities. So always a really special event on our calendar, something we always really look forward to, and glad to be able to be here with everyone this week.
It's certainly not a bad venue to hold an event at. We heard from ITR Economics yesterday about how there's a lot of red flags out there in terms of signs of a potential economic or industrial slowdown, but still a lot of optimism here at the show. What are you hearing or seeing in terms of what's the temperature on industrial hose product demand right now?
Yeah, great question. Kind of a mixed bag, I'd say. We still have a lot of distribution partners and other type of partners who see a strong future market ahead. We're cautiously optimistic. We think there's some opportunities where we'll see some increased growth. There's opportunities where we'll see a bit of a slowdown. Kind of a wishy-washy answer, but really a mixed bag. We're still planning to grow and making investments to be able to do that in the future. All right, and then touching on the supply chain situation, it seems like it is gradually improving. Where would you say things are right now in this market as opposed to 6 or 12 months ago? Yeah, radically different from 6 or 12 months ago, where every day was hand to mouth trying to find raw material and anything, labor, all of those things. Still pockets where we find issues. Not everything is golden at the moment, but a significantly better position than where we were a year ago, even 6 months ago. And then I know everyone's tired of talking about their labor challenges, but I have to ask, it seems like it is still the biggest challenge out there for distributors and manufacturers in this sector. What are you seeing out there in terms of progress or just anything being done on that front? Great question. Yeah, I would say at Conti we're still challenged in our manufacturing locations. Finding available labor in some of the locations we're at isn't easy. It's getting slightly better. We're seeing a little bit of relief than where we were even 6 months ago, but still a challenge for us moving forward, trying to find talented people that want to join our team. So. That's what I hear around. Well, Brian, thanks for stopping by. Mike, thank you very much. All right, we are at NAHAD 2023 talking with Jeff Scheininger. He's the president of FlexLine and a NAHAD board member. Jeff, we're here at Paradise Island in the Bahamas. Besides this gorgeous venue, what do you think NAHAD members get out of coming to this event each year?
This is the seminal event in the hose industry. Yeah. Other industries might have several trade organizations. We only have one.
Right.
If you're not here, then you're not availing yourself of all of the information, current trends, current industry knowledge, best practices. This is the venue that information and that expertise is shared and acquired.
That's great. Yesterday we heard from ITR Economics about there's all these kind of signs of economic slowdown on the way. What are you hearing from NAHAD members in terms of product demand in the hose industry? Just what's the temperature out there?
So it really depends on which product silo people are in. There are some products that are more or less still unavailable. Where lead times are measured in 6 to 12 months, not 6 weeks. That's a sea change from prior to COVID, We have some industries, hydraulic, hose, and fittings, for instance, that are catching up. Mm-hmm. If the manufacturer doesn't have it, you'll see it in a month.
Right.
There are others that's not the case at all, where we actually call them bottle orders, where it's like you put your order in a bottle and throw it in the Atlantic Ocean, and maybe it'll float back in, and probably it won't.
Distributors, manufacturers are tired of talking about the labor situation, but it still seems to be their biggest challenge right now. In terms of NAHAD members, how do you think they're doing on the labor front, and are you seeing some progress out there?
Okay, so distribution is different than manufacturing. Mm-hmm. I believe that a lot of distributors have gotten a handle on the new labor realities.
Sure.
I know in my own company we've been bringing in very qualified applicants. We have figured out what we need to do to keep those people working. They are different, significantly different than what we've ever seen in the workplace before. I've run my firm for 42 years, so I've seen multiple generations of these guys. I will tell you that many of my manufacturing partners are struggling horribly.
Yeah.
They just cannot find people to stand at a machine 8 hours a day, and then on Saturday and Sunday, a time and a half and double time. and they can't figure out a way of enhancing that job. So their only lifeline is subcontraction, or subcontracting, or even worse, offshoring.
Right. Well, that's all I had for you, Jeff, today. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
We're talking with Mike Mortensen, President and CEO of ARG Industrial. Mike, it sounds like you would have had one of the longer travel times to get down here to the Bahamas. What are your thoughts on the show so far, about halfway through?
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, it definitely is a stretch to come down here, but we think there's so much value in NAHAD. This is really where the hose and fittings industry comes together. All of our key manufacturers are here, and so many distributors that we have a lot of respect for and enjoy sharing the industry with are gathered. So it's great.
We heard from ITR Economics yesterday about, there are a lot of red flags out there about a potential industrial or economic slowdown. But what are you seeing or hearing, whether it's from other NAHAD members or at ARG Industrial? Just what's the temperature of, industrial demand out there right now?
In our markets, which are, primarily the Pacific Northwest and Alaska, we're still seeing demand is strong. We're enjoying another record spring, and things seems to be going well. Manufacturers are definitely starting to catch up with pace on deliveries, and we're seeing that improve, and that's helping us deliver more product to the customers. Talking to some of our manufacturing partners, they're starting to see a little bit of drop in distributor orders.
Sure.
And I think that's some of us that have been riding some pretty big inventories going through the last year or so, and are starting to right-size that a little bit. But demand still seems to be strong.
And then you already touched on it, looking at the supply chain situation compared to, let's say, 6 or 12 months ago. It sounds like things have been incrementally improving. It's overall in better shape than it was back then. But anything else you can just say on what the supply chain looks like in the industrial and rubber segment?
Yeah, I think going through what we went through, it really put relationships to the test, and those manufacturers and distributors that work really well together, I think, got closer.
Yeah.
And our manufacturing partners did some incredible things to keep us in business. And that's, like I said, it's driven the relationships closer together.
Yeah.
So I think for some of us, we've streamlined the book of business is from a distributor or manufacturing partner that we're working with, and they're starting to really catch up.
Yeah.
Putting inventory on the shelves, and that's giving us the ability to kind of back that inventory off just a little bit.
Yeah, it seemed like a year ago it was still just a guessing game when it came to lead times and what you could tell customers, but it sounds like distributors are getting a little better idea of when to expect things to come and go there. So there has been improvement on that front.
Yeah, and I think everybody's kind of doubled down on data and technology and being able to really forecast when we're going to get the products. Once we place an order with a manufacturer, they're giving us lead times. They're getting a lot better at hitting those delivery dates and making that information available to us. Super helpful for us.
Yeah. And then I got to touch on the labor front. It still seems like it might be the biggest challenge out there industry-wide, both on the distribution and manufacturing side. Just same kind of question. What are you seeing out there in terms of any improvement at all on the labor front, or just what do you see as the overall state of labor in distribution a little more than a quarter way through the year here?
I think people are coming back to work. There's definitely pockets in the market that we're operating in which are harder to find people than others. But for the most part, people want to work. I think we have to do a better job at making our industry and industrial distribution attractive to the next generation that's coming up. We have to provide training opportunities and professional promotion opportunities, and the wages got to be right. Yeah. We've got to keep pace with inflation, and we've got to keep pace with the other competitors out there that are vying for these new, young, talented people.
All right. Well, that's all I got for you, Mike. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Mike.